You know, I was a bit worried about reviewing For Honor. I mean, after all, I never played 3 Honor. We like to have fun here. Anyway, is For Honor worth it? Let's find out. For all of its grandiose visuals, epic battles, and globe-spanning scope, For Honor is centered around a very simple premise. 2 warriors locking eyes, preparing for a fight to the death. Every movement is analyzed and compensated as both competitors perform their first attack. But within seconds, one side gains a clear advantage, intensifying the competition into a desperate struggle for survival, before at last, only the victor remains. For Honor is a patchwork of multiplayer genres. At moments, it resembles a large-scale war game with dozens of troops claiming sections of the battlefield. Other times, it becomes a traditional fighter, where clever blocking and combos are exchanged. But these recognizable classifications sell this original concept short. For Honor's unusual approach to melee competition may be intimidating at first, but its dedication to skillful combat always encourages a return to the battlefield. As a package, For Honor is seemingly light on features. Altogether, there are only 5 modes, which don't offer much in variety, starting off with the 6-hour story campaign. Here, players will switch perspectives from the 3 warring nations of European Knights, Raider Vikings, and Honorable Samurai. These events largely serve as a tutorial to the 9 classes seen in the multiplayer, but are complemented by well-performed characters and directed cutscenes. However, the plot itself is fairly uneven. After a giant cataclysm creates a shortage of resources, the world's greatest armies clash for dominance. But once the Earth's societies restabilize, order and peace is restored. That is until the mysterious war chief Apollyon begins recruiting soldiers from around the globe, blazing a path of calculated destruction. Rather than conquering, she deliberately destroys food sources to usher in a new age of chaos. What's so frustrating about For Honor's narrative is its inability to follow through. The villain's plan actually makes sense, at least from a philosophical standpoint, as she's an anarchist. But this is sadly taken for granted. The audience is never given enough context before the final event. 5 hours are spent building up this sinister force, only to be quickly resolved. Thankfully, the missions themselves are a perfect way for newcomers to brush up their skills, even if the objectives aren't all that complicated. Go there, kill that, defend this. Simple, straightforward, fine. At least for a bit. While it's nice to explore the vast environments, halfway through it does start to feel like padding, as the campaign only features a handful of unique systems. But the incremental increases in difficulty settle players into the original combat mechanics before going online. When locked onto an enemy, characters will automatically enter a defensive stance, allowing for light and heavy attacks, blocking, and parries. The trick is, each of these actions are based off the selected direction of your hero. The right analog stick shifts to the up, left, and right position. Any incoming attacks are blocked by matching their direction. Likewise, player strikes must avoid their adversary's defense by engaging in an unprotected angle. While this can be initially confusing, it doesn't take long to adapt, as the enemy's defense is displayed as a sizable white arrow and attacks are communicated as big red arrows. But once the war is taken online, these scenarios become deeply strategic, with both players attempting to predict the other's next move. Simple trigger mashing won't get you far. Wildly missed swings dwindle away the limited stamina and leave competitors vulnerable. Only varied attacks, fast shifting, and proper timing ensure a fighting chance. There's a palpable tension in every battle that makes For Honor so enthralling. From each victory, there's a satisfying conclusion, and in loss, there's an obvious mistake to learn from. Much like a classic fighting game, it's just as important to know your opponent's capabilities. While the core mechanics are mostly the same between the 9 classes, their boosted attributes offer a complex collection of playstyles. Giant samurai and axe-wielding soldiers are sluggish in their movements, but their powerful strikes and guard-breaking grabs quickly shift the contest in their favor, while the nimble Naginata closes gaps with quick punctures. Every class carries its own limitations, some of which can be fixed through gear customization, but can always be overcome through careful play. For Honor's match types are few, but offer an exciting challenge. First, there's Dominion, a classic domination competition where both teams of 4 must control 3 points on a map. While 2 of these points are focused on hero combat, a third is located between a large battle of weak AI soldiers that must be killed to gain access. This creates a constant scramble from one environment to the next, while intercepting combatants along the way. The combination of fast-paced objectives and tactical positioning of forces keep matches competitive. For the more bloodthirsty, there's Elimination, a round-based deathmatch where each player is given a single life. This brilliantly paced mode begins with 2 players facing off before searching for the surviving enemies. The challenge comes from defeating your first opponent without taking too much damage and before their allies can arrive. Downed players can be revived by teammates, and stat-boosting power-ups are available, giving sole survivors a chance to even the odds. Elimination is arguably For Honor's best feature, with the constantly changing circumstances usually resulting in close calls and impressive comebacks. Finally, there's Duel and Blade, a 1 vs 1 or 2 vs 2 style match, and Skirmish, a traditional deathmatch with respawns. Neither of these modes offer the complexity or urgency of the previous two, but they are a nice palate cleanser. Unfortunately, the online play is frequently undercut by disconnections and server issues. Given that a single attack can completely alter the outcome of a match, these interruptions gravely impact the overall experience. More concerning is the reliance on AI-controlled bots. When a game is unable to connect the 8 required players, these bots make for poor stand-ins, still capable in combat, but clueless to the context of the battle. On the brighter side, For Honor's maps are tightly designed and lavishly rendered, complete with open war zones, claustrophobic choke points and pits, and layers of verticality. While there are only 6 different locations, their similarities are few, with lush Japanese forests, imposing European castles, and darkened canyons selling the concept of a medieval world war, juxtaposing the hobbled-together aesthetic of man-made environments with the overgrown roots and century-old trees of nature. Its original art, randomized weather, and detail-rich textures reinforce a true sense of time and place. So, is it worth it? Yes. For Honor certainly has some regrettable drawbacks. Its online play's infrequent stability is excruciating, and the monotone single player is a glorified practice mode. But these issues are quickly forgotten once the fight begins. The ambitious close-range combat is an addictive blend of quick action and tactical movement. For Honor confidently reimagines class-based multiplayer, creating a more personal, tense, and brutal experience. For Honor is currently available on the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC for $60. If you've had a chance to play it, let me know what you thought, and if you haven't, let me know if you plan on picking it up. My name is Colin Tanner, and I'll see you in the next video.